It's a big-time showdown in the Sunshine State with Atlantic Division pride and playoff positioning on the line. Hello and a very warm welcome. You've joined us live from Jacksonville, Florida, as the Jacksonville Kings host longtime rival, the Florida Storm. And with a win today, the Kings can rule over the Atlantic Division this season. Florida still has an outside shot at that division title, but they need to win and have results go their way to get it done. My name is Michael Cirillo. Happy to have your company on this glorious Saturday afternoon from sunny Florida. Rochelle Colson is alongside me in the booth. Stephen Hacker and Josh Neal are doing stats for us today. Rochelle, big time showdown today. What you got for us?
Well, these teams have met a total of 13 times, with Florida winning 9 times out of the 13. Their last meeting was last season, October 20th, 2021, where Florida won 35-28. Offensively, both teams are pretty similar. They both run balanced offenses. They both use their halfbacks as a dual threat, and their halfbacks are the lead receivers for both teams. It should be a fun one.
It's the sky blue against the purple and gold, and two of those previous meetings, as Rochelle mentioned, were in the season 10 and 11 championship games, and the Storm, at that time out of Anchorage, and the Alaska Storm beat the then Tallahassee Pride in both of those games. Jacksonville still without a title to their name, despite being one of the more dominant forces from seasons 9 to 14 that we had in the SFL. They kept coming up short. Can they change that this season? It's still all to play for in the last couple of weeks of the season. Purple everything with gold accents for Jacksonville. Red storm warning helmets, white jerseys, white pants for the Storm out of South Florida. Jacksonville 7-3, Florida 6-4 as we begin today's game. Here's the starting offense for the Storm. Veteran quarterback Ron Cochran is under center. Charlie Belitsky is the running back. J.W. Doyle the fullback. Stephen Bush, E.J. Minson, and Justice Blackwell the wide receivers. Veridin Zarkov and Paulie Truth the tight ends. Greg McDonaldson, Griffin King, and Joseph Wade make up the offensive line. Left-handed Cochran throws and a stretching grab out past the 40-yard line, and a big gain on first down puts the Storm up near midfield. There's E.J. Minson.
A great first down play. You're thinking you see a lot of Bolesky instead of come out with the pass on the first down.
Jacksonville defense looks like this. Mike All, Taquan Hale, Buster Johnson, and Forrest Dalton across the defensive line. I'll get to the rest of this after this play. Here's Beletsky for the first time. Bounces off his own offensive lineman and only gets a few right up the middle. Linebackers John Martin, J.R. Lawless, and Garrett Hudson. Corners Connor Darien, Terrence Pearson, and Bernard Gooden. And safeties Greg Gaines and Stuart Zomelia. A new look Jacksonville Kings defense this season, as 6 players on the defensive side of the ball are new to the Kings this year. That pass deflected, and it'll be 3rd down and 6 after Connor Darien got a hand to that pass.
Yeah, Connor Darien's been a very dangerous player this season. He's got 10 receptions on the season. He's looking for some more.
Florida in the top 10 in the league in points per game, averaging a hair under 30. Cochran has had the offense cooking so far down this stretch. And there's a nice pass out to the tight end, Veridin Zarkov, turns the corner. Can't quite elude John Martin, but he does pick up the first down.
That was a nice little ankle tackle there. If not, he'd have gotten a lot more yards out of that play. He barely hung on there at the end.
Zarkov might still have been running if Martin wasn't able to make that shoestring tackle. Another pass for Cochran. He's going to go over the middle and a crunching tackle, but not before Justice Blackwell secures the bag down to the 22-yard line.
I'm just surprised we're not seeing more run by the Florida offense. Their game plan, I guess, is to throw the ball more this game. Seems to be working for them.
Well, the rushing defense for Jacksonville is 23rd in the league, near the bottom, allowing 127 rush yards per game. So you would think that the Storm would come out and run the ball, but it's been all Ron Cochran throwing so far. This time he connects again, another first down out of the 10-yard line. There's J.W. Doyle making a catch out of the backfield from the fullback spot.
Yep, I guess Florida's going to try to use both their weapons, the halfback and the fullback. They're like a dual threat out there.
When you have Ron Cochran on your team, 10 seasons in the league, a 4-time All-Star. This time the give is to Doyle off the left-hand side. Defense was ready for it that time at a loss of 1.
Both teams have really, really impressive D-line. So, surprised we're getting more penetration already.
And Florida and Jacksonville, or Tallahassee and Alaska as they were called back then, were really two of the pioneers of the whole star defensive line meta in the Simulation Football League. Early seasons, you focused on your quarterbacks, you focused on your wide receivers, and you focused on your safeties. As that goes down to the 1 and barely not getting into the end zone is Doyle.
I thought he was in there for a second there, Michael.
I thought he was in there too. Maybe we're going to have another look at that, but it'll be 3rd and inches from the 1-yard line. So there is a world where Florida has to settle for a field goal here. Offset eye. Bletsky only 1 carry so far on this drive. Here's the second. He evades the rush and scores. Fancy footwork by the Bullet. And Charlie Bletsky puts the Storm up by 6.
Impressive drive here by Florida. If I can go all game without saying Alaska and Tallahassee will be a good one.
Hey, so the first season that they both moved from their respective original cities to where they are now, which was season 14, when they moved to Florida, Jacksonville, I got put on the first game between the two teams in week 1 of season 14. Think about how confusing it was for me.
Oh, I bet. It's been a couple of seasons now. I still call them Tallahassee.
No matter where they are, they've got two of the best owners in the business, Max Paul for Florida and Frank Gooden for Jacksonville. As the extra point is up and good from the kicker Ethan Sneed for Florida. And an efficient first drive for the Storm gives them an early advantage.
First drive, hit goal there with the touchdown. So let's see what Jacksonville does here.
7 plays, 74 yards, and 70 of them were through the air. Meanwhile, on Next Level Sports, DC, all over Las Vegas, where the convention is headed this summer in the early going 21-3. Right here, it's Jacksonville's first time on the ball, so here's their starting offense. Marcus Dunhill is their quarterback, Jared Willis the running back, Zach Patton, Grayson Willis, Kingston Ellington, and Shea Carroll the wide receivers. Jack Wall, Talon Steele are the tight ends. Olivia Bleeker, Alden Bleeker, and Brian French make up the offensive line. Crossing pattern to the tight end, Jack Wall. He's in his 5th season in the league. 1-time All-Star back in season 17, and he crosses around for 4 yards.
And both teams come out passing. I'm in shock.
And when you have running backs like Charlie Bletsky and Jared Willis, you would expect a lot more ground game. But Dunhill gonna duck under a sack, find his release valve out to the near side. There's Wall again, or excuse me, that is Jared Willis.
There's wandering on the field, isn't there? I guess offsides.
And it was going to be a free play anyway. Dunhill, a former SFL champion with the Atlanta Swarm a couple of seasons ago, retired, moved to a league office position, but thought, hey, I want to be back on the field, so now taking over the Jacksonville role last season in his 2nd season with the Kings. Second down and 1 after the penalty. Dunhill hands to Willis, and Willis goes nowhere. Look out, there comes the defensive line for Florida Storm, led by Big Sexy himself, Alex Dominguez, the 4-time All-Star.
And right now, Alex Dominguez is third in the league for TFLs with 16, so I guess he's just picked up his 17th of the season.
I'll get you the rest of the Florida Storm defense after this play. It's a big one, 3rd down and 3. It's going to be a handoff. Willis once again has nowhere to go as he's swallowed up by Stephen Black.
Like I said before, both these teams have great D linemen. They're used to getting in the backfield with a lot of sacks and a lot of TFLs.
Here's the Florida Storm defense. Defensive line looks like this. Deontay Stoneville, Alessandro Tomaello, Rhett Sawyer, and Alex Dominguez. Linebackers Stephen Black and Ryan Tobin. Corners Ryan Davidson, Evan Carroll, and Adam Jones. Safety Adrian Blaine, and Andrew Francis.
You know, Florida's going to start off this drive with great field position on their own 39-yard line, so
you saw what they could do with a 70-yard field. And now here's just over a 60-yard field, so a 10-yard head start this time for the Storm. Cochran under center. He'll fire to the tight end, or the wide receiver, Justice Blackwell. And Blackwell will pick up 5 yards. On the season, Ron Cochran, 2,400 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Cochran, this time going to go down. Jacksonville brought the extra man off the edge, and Taquan Hale puts Ron Cochran in the dirt, a role he has had many times over their meetings throughout their careers.
Taquan Hale's been wreaking havoc in this league all season with his 10.5 sacks. Make that 11.5 now.
Taquan Hale's been wreaking havoc for 9 seasons on the Kings defensive line. Now 3rd down and 12. Forcing a throw out of Cochran. He stands in the pocket, and it's incomplete. He was looking for, I believe that was Galliano, and it was. It was broken up, 4th down and 12.
That was a big hit by the cornerback there to knock that ball loose and cause an incompletion. Great play on defense.
So a 3 and out for Jacksonville and a 3 and out for Florida after the Storm's opening drive touchdown. And we are both surprised by the lack of rushing attack so far in this game, and there's good reason. Charlie Blitzky is making a strong case for MVP, 2nd in the league in rushing yards with 1,376, and number 1 in the league in rushing touchdowns with 17. Well, I guess now 18 after he got in on that opening drive.
Yeah, I'm surprised by the actual passing game from both teams. I'm thinking I'll see a lot of Willis and a lot of Bolesky today, but I guess not.
D-line shifts, linebackers counter, another offside penalty coming, free play, and it's a tiptoeing catch for Grayson Willis, the longest serving player on the offense of the Kings. He's been in Jacksonville for 8 seasons.
A lot of offsides in the first quarter of this game, apparently.
Now 2 by Florida there. Shea Carroll has actually been in the league longer than Willis, but he's only been on this team for 2 seasons. 9 seasons overall. Carroll's bounced around a lot. Dallas, Seattle, 2 notable stops.
Carolina.
Both of those Carolina, both of those teams, Dallas and Seattle, not around anymore. The former Dallas Roughnecks and Seattle Pirates. Here's Jared Willis trying to pick his way through. Shrugs off 1 tackle, but he was held up long enough for the rest of the defense to get there, and he's finally tackled by Evan Carroll.
That was just pure determination on Willis's part. They had him at the line of scrimmage. He just kept pushing forward, turning the legs forward. Nice run.
Sets up 2nd down and 1. Approaching the 40-yard line. Jared Willis not shabby himself. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns and 7 overall on the season. Alex Dominguez finally tackles Willis that time, but not before he spins beyond the line of game.
And this is more what I'm used to seeing from both of these teams. Hard pounding, running the ball, football. But their halfbacks do lead their teams in receptions, though, for both teams. So
Yeah. You could see a lot of swing passes today. 68 pass targets for Belitsky, 73 for Willis as that pass is complete. Forward progress will get Grayson Willis a first down.
he threw that ball just over the defender's head where only his receiver could catch it. Nice play.
The kind of play you would expect to see from Marcus Dunhill.
Exactly.
Jacksonville into Storm territory for the first time today. No step drop by Dunhill, and he's going to pay the price as he's cut down by Alessandro Tomaello.
Like I said, these D-lines are tough. They'll wreak havoc on both sides of the, from both teams. These quarterbacks are not safe.
Sorry about that, Rochelle. Tomaello, top 10 in sacks in the SFL, picks up his 7th on the season there. Dunhill again under pressure, and this time underthrows it, and it's knocked away. 3rd down and 10. Davidson tips it.
Yep, these quarterbacks are reading Dunhill pretty well right here. They've gone that swing pass maybe one too many times on this drive.
And with extended success like the Florida Storm have had comes a lot of player loyalty. Ron Cochran, 10 seasons with the Storm. Alex Dominguez, 11. Evan Carroll, 11. Ryan Tobin and Ryan Davidson both with 9. Andy Francis, 10. All those players have spent their entire careers in Florida with the Storm, and this one is going to go all the way. Pick 6, Adam Jones, touchdown Storm as they double their lead.
The cornerback was just reading Marcus all the way. He's going to that out route one too many times in this drive, and pick 6 on the way.
It was the exact same throw from Dunhill that was underthrown and almost intercepted on the previous play. They go to it again, and this time Adam Jones says, if you underthrow the receiver again, I'm going to punish you, and this time he takes it to the house.
Now Florida finds himself up by 2 scores in the first quarter.
And remember, if you missed the top of the broadcast, if the Kings win today, they claim the Atlantic Division. If Jacksonville wins, if Florida wins today, it's a little more complicated because then Charleston is also still involved.
Yeah, when it comes to the end of the season, everything's complicated. There's so many scenarios. And
yeah, well, what's not complicated is if you win the division, you get the playoffs.
Right.
But Jacksonville could still win the division. With a loss today, they need to beat Carolina next week. And they would need Florida to lose to Charleston.
Yeah, because that division's always a little crazy, too.
Yeah, this is a very, very stacked division. I mean, just Florida, Charleston, and Jacksonville in a division could leave any team shaking in their boots. I mean, I should know, being in Carolina for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that division.
You used to be in that division.
I know.
13-0 Florida. And now here's Jared Willis. He wants to get it all back at once. He puts a defender with a dart, and he's finally cut down by Adrian Blaine all the way at midfield.
I thought he was gone for the races there.
And you see this so much in the SFL. A team throws a haymaker, and the other team says, well, look what I've got.
He broke 2 tackles, and the third guy finally brought him down.
Blaine was the safety set up on the other side of the field, and she had to come all the way across to tackle Jared Willis just on the Florida side of the midfield stripe. Dunhill in the gun. Bell tie snap, throws short over the middle. Willis going the wrong way, and he'll actually lose a yard on forward progress.
Yes, his spin moves was to turn him around one too many times. He spun the wrong way, ran the wrong way.
Now 2nd down at 11, under a minute to go first quarter. Florida shows blitz. They do bring the pressure, and the pressure hits Jared Willis right in the face mask as he goes nowhere.
Did he actually lose a yard there?
He got back to the line of scrimmage. They had lost a yard on the previous play.
Okay. Like I said, both D lines should be playing tough. Wreaking havoc with that core quarterback all day long.
After that impressive run by Willis to open the drive, it's been nothing so far for the Kings. This time Dunhill going long, and he overthrows Grayson Willis, and it'll have to be a punt for Howard McCoy.
Well, thank goodness he overthrew it, because that poor receiver was surrounded by defenders in front of him. It should have been another interception, actually, if it would have been overthrown.
If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. 1 quarter in the books, and it's all Storm. It's 14-0 Florida over Jacksonville as the Atlantic Division hangs in the balance. We'll be right back. This is the Simulation Football League on Twitch. Relatively fast first quarter there, Rochelle. We got through it at about 20 minutes.
That's fast. Even with the penalties in there.
I wouldn't be surprised if Florida now up 2 scores commits to the run game, and Belitsky is dragged down off the left-hand side.
Belitsky has a better average. I mean, it's a better yards per carry than Willis has so far for the season. So
they have about even number of carries, just over 200 for the both of them coming into the game. First down on forward progress. That time for Doyle, as he has shared the load pretty evenly with Belitsky through the first quarter and change.
Yeah, and that's unusual because Doyle hasn't been having a whole lot of carries this season. Maybe a different plan for him today.
Before the game. And he already has 2 carries, and he's been hit for passes twice by Cochran. 1st and 10. Floated to the far side, pass complete and sliding out of bounds.
Yeah, both teams using that slight little out route to the sidelines there.
Yeah. And in a game where both teams' running backs are their leading receivers by volume, you'd think a play like that would go to Belitsky. But he found the wide receiver instead. 2nd down and 5. Cochran, top of the pocket, airs it out into triple coverage, and it's caught near the 40-yard line of Jacksonville. Veridin Zarkov makes another grab, his 3rd of the ball game.
Nothing you can do about that. The defense was in perfect position. Just a rocket thrown by Cochran. And it's now 7 of 9 for the day.
Yeah, if that ball is even slightly underthrown, Greg Gaines comes across and picks that off because he was motoring from right to left on that play.
Right now, Cochran's 8 for 10 with 104 yards, so he's having a nice day so far himself.
Been lighting up the field here in the first quarter and a little bit more. Double spin move by Belitsky gets him close to the first down, pushed out of bounds after a gain of 9.
Nice play there by Belitsky, spinning and dodging and spinning and Up 9 yards on the first down play. Very good.
Boletsky through the air this season, 67 receptions, 366 yards, 1 touchdown. That's before the game today. High snap, Cochran corrals it, and that's another brilliant throw that he squeezes into the area smaller than a bread box and trusts his receiver, E.J. Minson, to go get, and the receiver obliges.
I mean, you really have to trust your receiver there, because that's a very dangerous pass otherwise. He's going to go up and get it no matter what, apparently.
Right between Connor Darien and the rookie Stuart Zomelia, first-round pick out of Annapolis.
Don't look now, they're in the red zone again.
Second trip to the sharp end of the field. A Charlie Boletsky rushing touchdown was the result their first time, and this time it's not going to happen on this play. Terrence Pearson with the tackle for loss.
That cornerback came out of nowhere, just waved Boletsky out. Nice defensive play.
Loss of 1 pushes him back to the 15. Cochran, pressure coming. Finds Boletsky on the outside, and he'll get some of those yards back. Pick 3rd and 7. I mentioned the turnover on this Jacksonville Kings defense. 5 rookies and 7 new players overall.
Well, Terrence Pearson had another tackle on that play. He's all over the field right now.
Cochran, the bell tie snap, moves to his left, fires over the middle, incomplete. That time the receiver could not hang on in traffic, as Jose Galliano could only bat it away from the defense. 4th down and 7, and we're going to see kicker Ethan Sneed here. And to finish my point about the Jacksonville defense, they're still a top 10 defense in the league, allowing only 25 points per game, even with all those new faces.
You have to credit that to the coaching staff. How to use your players and their strengths and their attributes.
Frank Gooden does it all for this Kings organization. Owner, head coach, and both coordinators.
He's a busy man.
Shot field goal for Ethan Sneed. He puts it up and threw it. It is 17-0. And the Kings are going to have to find an answer on offense pretty darn quick.
That's impressive, Michael, because doing it all by yourself, that's a lot of work. I couldn't do it.
And Max Paul used to be that for the Florida Storm, but now he's got Art Vandelay in as head coach, Ben Jackson as offensive coordinator. He's got Ryan Davidson, J.W. Doyle, Alessandro Tomaello, and Stephen Black all listed as staff for the Florida Storm, and it's really turned into a group effort. But back for those 3 straight championships in seasons 10, 11, and 12, it was all Max Paul.
Wow, that's impressive. To me, it takes a village.
Jacksonville all the ball again. 7:24 to go here in the second. Thank you if you're just joining us today on Twitch.
Jacksonville needs some points on this drive.
Yeah, they do. Kings can't let the Storm get too far ahead. And going long, trying to get it all once and almost intercepted. Carroll saw the ball slip in and out of his hands after Adam Jones got the initial deflection.
In Florida, will be working on their trip drills over after this game.
Let's go. Jacksonville doesn't have the most explosive offense in the league. 16th ranked, averaging 25.2 points a game. But top 5 in pass yards per game with 317. So Marcus Dunhill's been slinging the rock. He's going to need to do it again. That time it goes off the shoulder of the defender and falls incomplete. That was Alfredo Massanet.
Alfredo?
Oh, went off his helmet. He knew nothing about it.
That's my luck as a defender.
His head is completely turned backwards to the play, and the pass goes right off the back of his helmet. How about that?
Not soccer, son. You gotta use your hands.
But it forces Jacksonville into a 3rd down and 10 as they face another 3 and out here in the first half. The Florida defense has played very well, especially the secondary early on. Dunhill, time to throw, lasers it down the field. Oh, you have to catch that. Kingston Ellington had the ball in his grasp, and Deontay Stoneville did just enough to make it fall to the turf. Excuse me, Stoneville was the pressure on the play. I believe Evan Carroll was the man in coverage.
The ball was thrown to Kingston Ellington. It was.
Yeah, Ellington was the drop. And it's
Gotta catch
another
that one. That
3 and
was thrown
out.
right to him.
3rd punt upcoming for Howard McCoy.
That's disappointing for Jacksonville here. They needed some points desperately.
And now it's going to be another good field position for the Florida Storm to start their drive as they'll start from their own 42.
Well, with Florida having their punter, you would think that they'd always win their field position battle, which they have been so far in this game.
We have not seen Marcus Agrippa on the field yet, and that speaks to the Florida Storm's efficiency on offense to this point in the ball game. Cochran out to Beletsky. Beletsky a spin move, get by one, can't get by the trio of purple-shirted defenders there to make the tackle right at midfield, but a gain of 8 nonetheless.
And Florida's just continuing to do those little out routes to the sidelines, and Jacksonville's got to find an answer for that. They learn how to defend that better because of, they're picking up 9 yards at a time, big chunks of yardage in one play.
Well, there's only so much you can do to defend a player like Beletsky in open space. He's got great moves. He can make players miss.
He was more or less wide open on the sideline. There was nobody there in front of him.
Beletsky gets the delayed handoff, got plenty chasing him, but he gets a blocker out in front, and he's pushed out of bounds at the Jacksonville 28-yard line.
Great blocking by the Beletsky there.
Who's that
Number
in the back?
65, number 61 with a block. Number 11 with a block there.
Yeah, but right at the beginning of that play, Mike All almost had Beletsky in the backfield, and Charlie just hit the accelerator button and ran away from him. Got a block and eventually converted a massive run.
I think he just bathes in olive oil before the game so people just slip off of him.
Cochran to a wide open receiver across the middle down to the 15-yard line. Steven Bush had nobody in the same zip code as him when he made that catch.
And Florida's once again in the red zone. Yeah, there was nobody around him. Wide open receiver.
2 trips to the red zone for the Storm. A Beletsky 1-yard touchdown run and a chip shot field goal by Sneed. A pick 6 by Adam Jones, the other score for Florida to give them their 17-0 lead. Cochran out of the backfield, and that time well defended as Beletsky only gets 2 yards.
I think if the middle of the field in that play was wide open, if you just had a receiver drop in the middle of the field, it probably would have been a touchdown. Defense was playing back in the secondary.
And that's the conundrum for the Jacksonville defense. You can't cover everywhere. You cover the outside, the center's going to be open, but that time nobody was open, and straight through the middle came the defender to make the sack.
That was Forrest Dalton there, I think, on the big sack.
It was indeed Dalton, the rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Lexington, and he's got some great mentors on this D-line.
He just stepped on that lineman and ran right by him.
Yeah.
Got to the quarterback immediately.
On this defensive line, you've got Dalton and Johnson, the 2 rookies, but then you've got Taquan Hale and Mike All, the 2 veterans. And it's been an excellent combination this season. Cochran middle, one-handed grab, but nowhere much to go afterwards for, I believe that's Jose Galliano.
A victory for the Jacksonville defense to keep him out of the end zone. Hold him to a field goal here.
Second time down into this area of the field in the second quarter. They're going to have to settle for a second field goal, but the gap slowly growing. It's still a 3-score game if they make this. And this is exactly the same spot on the field where Sneed hit the first one, and he hits this one too from 28 yards, 20-0 Florida.
Once again, Jacksonville's about to get the ball back. They have to come down and they have to get some points of some kind, some way. Keep themselves into this game.
And it's been a terrific effort by the Florida secondary so far. I mean, the big play obviously being the pick six by Adam Jones, but nobody has been open for Marcus Dunhill to find. And now down 3 scores midway through the second, you're going to have to go for a more pass-heavy style, and Jared Willis is going to just mainly become a blocker or a release valve as Jacksonville will start from their own 26.
I'd say they have to get Jarrett Willis going, but they're 3 scores behind. They'll have to start using their other weapons, like Grayson Willis and Shea Carroll.
At this point, I think the goal for Jacksonville is to head into the break down 20 to greater than 0. Don't let Florida score and put some points on the board in the last 4:14. Dunhill time to stand in the pocket. He hits Willis. Willis tried to spin out of a tackle, but the long arms of the defender wraps him up and puts him down. That was Alfredo Massenet again. Second time we've called his name in this quarter.
And Jacksonville is tending to keep sticking to their little out routes to the sideline, which aren't really moving the ball very well for them right now. Yeah, open their playbook up a little bit here.
Dunhill under center. The out route comes again, and this time it's complete to Jack Wall, but he's chased down immediately from behind. 3rd down and 3.
This is an important 3rd down for Jacksonville here. They have to convert.
Or risk another Florida possession with decent field position. Dunhill. Receiver open near side, and a 1st down for Grayson Willis. He does pay the price because that was a big hit laid on him by Ryan Davidson, but he does convert.
The 2nd reception of the day. He's only has 17 yards right now, so they're sticking to those little short passes. They got to open it up a little bit more and throw further down the field and make smart plays here.
Now, the couple of times they've tried to go down the field, it's been incomplete and intercepted, so I can understand the hesitation of Dunhill and Frank Gooden on the sidelines to go that route, especially in the first half. I think at this point they're trying to just wear down the clock.
And Dunhill likes to throw the ball to either Willis or Wall, apparently, because Ellington still doesn't have a reception on the day.
And he's 0 for 1, Kingston Ellington. This time it's going to be Willis off the left side, gets close to a 1st down. It'll be 3rd and less than 1 as we head towards the 2-minute warning.
I like that play on 3rd down. Close to the first, close to the 2-minute warning. 3rd inches. It's very, very doable here.
That's the 2-minute warning. It's all Florida, 20-0 over Jacksonville. What do the Kings have in the last 2 minutes of the first half? This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on Twitch. Right. Another must-convert 3rd down situation for Jacksonville here. 7 in the box for Florida. They're going to give it to Willis. Willis, huge hole up the middle, and he finds his way into Florida territory down to the 44.
Great work by the O-line there, giving Willis a huge hole right up the middle.
And there's Alden Bleeker. Alden Bleeker highlighted with a nice seal block to create the space.
Got trips.
2 to the right, 1 to the left. Another handoff up the middle, and nowhere to go this time for Willis. Right through the middle came Tobin. And it's 2nd down and 9.
I think Jacksonville needs to throw a medium-sized pass here. Get the first down and just keep moving the ball down the field.
1:10 to go and counting. Dunhill stands in. That pass is complete to Jack Wall. It's not going to get the first down. 3rd down and 2. Here's a little bit of up-tempo offense from the Kings. Dunhill waits, and the receiver comes open. 1st down. That was Willis of the Grayson variety.
Dunhill showing some patience here, waiting for the receivers to come open.
41 seconds left. On play action, Willis this time. And a 9-yard pickup, 8-yard pickup. And a timeout taken by Jacksonville. Have you checked out video content produced by our community? Check out the Sim Pod every week, SFL Crunch Time and Road to Glory every Wednesday night. SFL Nights with AJ Stryker premieres Thursday nights. Play It With Your Chest airs Friday, and Napa can be seen all week long at 7 p.m. Eastern Time every week. Although this week he has been not feeling so well. Get well, Tyler. We hope to see Napa back next week. Dunhill, incomplete, as Grayson Willis couldn't keep his feet in bounds. 3rd down and 2.
The only good news is the clock stopped on that play.
Now they're going to review it because it looked close on initial viewing. And let's see if he got his foot in bounds. This would be a huge 1st down for Jacksonville. Watch that foot. Oh, it's a little bit below the score bug.
After review, the pass has been ruled complete.
And he did get the foot down.
Going out of bounds. 1st down.
So Jacksonville moves the chains, does not cost a timeout.
And the clock stops. All positive there.
Stop. This is the farthest Jacksonville has been into Florida territory in the ball game, as they're inside the red zone now. 35 seconds to go in the 2nd quarter.
Well, let's just take his time here. He's got plenty of time and 2 timeouts left.
Dunhill fires. The route was jumped and the pass is caught. That was Aaron Don, I believe. No, excuse me, that was Shea Carroll actually made the catch that time.
His first catch of the day, too. What an important play.
Got 5 yards, more importantly, got out of bounds. Dunhill fires, incomplete. Knocked away by Stephen Black. 3rd down.
Great play by Black Bear, great play by the defense. Let's see if they can hold. They're going to try to hold him to 3 here, I have a feeling.
Jacksonville can get a 1st down inside the 7. But you have to think that Dunhill's going to go to the end zone here. Trips to the right, single left. Dunhill over the middle. He goes to the goal line, and it's a touchdown for Shea Carroll. And the Kings are on the board before the break.
If you're Jacksonville here, you have to be happy with that performance on that drive. You actually want to stand on the field and score a touchdown. But you're going to have to. Locker was a little bit to celebrate there.
And that is a very efficient drive by Jacksonville. That's what they've been doing to teams all season long. They're not a deep threat team. They're death by 1,000 cuts, out routes and short passes and runs by Jared Willis.
We haven't really seen much of Willis today. He's only had 9 carries so far in the game and 2 receptions.
But he did pick up a big 1st down on that drive. And Jacksonville down 20-7, 24 seconds to go before the half.
Now Jacksonville needs to stop Florida from scoring before the half.
With 24 seconds left, you feel that Florida may just run this and head to the break.
You never know.
Or if they get good field position off this return, they may try and go for something. Taken for the 1. And it's not going to be great field position. There's only out to the 23 goes the returner.
Yeah, I think they'd be happy with just letting Bolesky run the ball out, run the clock out, and get a halftime with their...
It's Justice Blackwell returning kicks for Florida. 24-13 in the other game going on right now in Next Level Sports. They're late in the third quarter. DC on top of Las Vegas. And here in the Sunshine State, it's Florida over Jacksonville. It's going to be a delayed handoff, power side right for Bolesky. And that will do it for the first half of play. It was all Florida for 98% of the first half. Jacksonville responds late, and it's Storm 20, Kings 7 as we hit the halftime interval. Michelle Colston, break down that first half for us.
Oh, like I said, Ryan Cochran's having a game. He's 14 of 17 for 156 yards. We've seen a little bit of Bolesky with his 7 carries and averaging like 6.3 yards per carry. In fact, you see the same thing from Florida in the second half. Jacksonville needs to keep doing what they're doing, I guess, with their little short routes and their little runs, and hopefully they can just keep marching the ball down the field.
Second half underway. Thank you for joining us on Twitch today in the middle of our Saturday block. My name is Michael Toretto. Happy to have your company. Michelle Colston, the other voice you're hearing on commentary. Josh Neal, Stephen Hacker are our stats people today. And Cameron Irvine is making the magic happen as our producer, as always. Jacksonville starts with the ball. If you go 2 for 1 here, the third offsides call against Florida in the ball game. Jared Willis won't get very far, but they will accept the penalty.
The defensive line's getting mighty jumpy there for Florida.
And that's been the one real black eye on the Florida Storm's performance today so far, are those 3 offsides penalties.
They're wanting to get to that quarterback in a desperate kind of way, I guess. They're just very, very anxious to get to Dunhill.
Well, Florida doesn't have any sacks on the day. They had 1 taken away because they said it was an incomplete pass and not a sack. Cochran's gone down twice, 1 sack by Taquan Hale and 1 by Forrest Dalton. Dunhill with time. Underneath he goes to Wall. And Jack Wall can't turn the corner, but it will be 2nd down and 1.
That wasn't a bad play. Got 9 yards, 2nd and 1. Got 4 yards, sorry. That was a penalty on the first play. It should be doable. But expect to see Jared Willis here, I would think.
Well, even though the Kings have a slightly better record this season, this result so far is not without historical context, as Jared Willis shows off a little patience, bounces it outside, and gets a first down.
Yep.
These two teams have played each other 14 times, with 9 of those victories going to the Storm, including those 2 championship games in seasons 11 and 10.
Yeah, neither one of these teams are have been in the playoffs plenty of times. They have plenty of playoff games between them. They're used to postseason action.
And Jacksonville can make sure they get there with a win today. They clinch the Atlantic Division. Nice jumping catch by Grayson Willis against 2 defenders. Went up against Carroll and Blaine and mossed them both.
Yep, that was a little scary for me. I thought it was being intercepted for sure, but he jumped up and got the pass. Right over number 29 there.
And that's 11-season veteran Evan Carroll. Carroll, 4th all-time in passes defended with 116 and 5th in interceptions with 67. And he's taken 5 of those 67 interceptions back for touchdowns.
I didn't think Willis was getting up there for a second. He lay on the ground for a long time.
You do not want to lose somebody to injury.
Especially not him.
Yeah. Well, last week we saw the Houston quarterback go down temporarily. That's the 2nd time We've seen a ball deflect off a helmet. This time, Evan Carroll gets in the way. Again, he knew nothing about that play. Similarly to Massenet in the first half, it just bounced off his helmet.
Like being in the right place at the right time, I guess. Just being unaware.
Well, you can't predict live sports. 3rd down and 8, big play here. And it's a dagger right down the numbers from Dunhill to Ellington. 1st down, Jacksonville. That's Kingston's first catch of the game.
Ellington paid for that one. That defender just hit him. I'm surprised he'll come to the ball for that long. Wow.
Now Dunhill up over 100 yards passing. Willis, weak side, and nowhere to go as Ryan Tobin was a man on a mission. Tobin lined up to the left side of the formation and came all the way across to make the tackle.
Yeah, these linebackers are pretty quick on the field. They're all over, they're moving all over the place. Great ball pursuit.
And again, nowhere to go for Willis.
Yeah, that was kind of a broken play from the start. He had nowhere to go from the snap of the ball.
I misspoke earlier. Kingston Ellington has 2 catches, not 1. And he might need another one here. 3rd and 10.
Yeah, he was targeted 3 times with 2 catches on the day.
Dunhill, a 5-step
Oh,
drop.
no.
Moving around, nowhere to go, and down he goes. Alessandro Tomaello won't be denied this time. That'll go down as a sack. And it's going to be a punting situation for Jacksonville.
Yep, great penetration there by the D-line.
Worked his way right around the right tackle, Tony Swoll, and swallowed up Dunhill.
And they can pin Florida deep here. It's punt.
That punt's going to die at the 5. What a punt by Howard McCoy. And Florida will start in the shadow of their own end zone for their first possession of the 3rd quarter. And there's only 6:13 to go. Long possession by Jacksonville, but they didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, they can't burn the clock without scoring here. Time's not their friend at this point.
Jacksonville not dialing up pressure here. You'd think they'd try and force a safety from this position, but they're going to give it to Polecki, and he's going to escape the danger zone and get out to the 9-yard line.
And great run there by Polecki, getting them out of the danger zone there, their own end zone. Expect to see a lot of him right here. Florida needs to burn the clock at this point.
Up 20-7 with just about half the 3rd quarter gone. There's Doyle on the carry this time, gets nowhere. And it's 3rd down and 4 after they do give him a yard.
Forrest Dalton says, welcome, hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to the game. Great stop there.
This would be a massive stop for Jacksonville as it would give them good field position. It's going to be Polecki, and he's run down. They tried to go off tackle. Defense read it all the way.
Number 40. And that was outside linebacker J.R. Wallace there coming through and making a big stop.
Buster Johnson is also in there.
David Agrippa can get it out.
First punt of the game for Agrippa, and it's a big one as he stands with his heels in the end zone.
They came after him. They didn't get him.
And it's going to be good field position for Jacksonville. They'll start inside Florida territory at the 43, and it's got to be go time for Marcus Dunhill and company.
That's a gift for that field position there. With a seasoned punter.
Yeah, playing against Marcus Agrippa, the wind may have played a factor in that one, because usually he gets a little more yardage on it than that. Let's see if Jacksonville can take advantage. Offset eye, hand off Willis, right into the teeth of the defense and tackled by Ryan Tobin.
Jacksonville seems to prefer that offset eye formation. They've been using it a lot this game.
Yeah, and they usually often run to the strong side on that play. But I think to get back in this game, it's going to have to be on the arm of Dunhill. This time they offset the eye to the left. Going to go strong side again. Willis breaks a tackle and gets 8 yards.
Yep. The Florida defense is looking for a run. They're stacking the box, and somehow Willis still broke through.
Adrian Blaine, the first-round pick out of Madison in the most recent SFL rookie draft, made the tackle that time. Jared Willis now up over 50 yards rushing. 3rd and 2. Dunhill in the gun. Floats it over the middle. Incomplete. Oh, wow. Jack Wall was in a ton of space, but he couldn't come up with the ball.
I heard footsteps there. There was defenders around him.
And usually Jack Wall has pretty sure hands. Hadn't dropped one so far. Or, excuse me, he had dropped 1 to that point. Now he's dropped 2. And they're not in field goal range yet, so Howard McCoy going to try and pin Florida deep again. Punt goes high in the air, bounces inside the 5, and down to the, whoa. They're going to stop forward progress at the 5, but again, Florida backed up in their own red zone, and it's deja vu for the Storm offense.
Great special teams play here by Jacksonville today.
And right now, it might be the only thing keeping them in this game.
I expect to see Bileski here again, this deep in their own territory.
And again, Jacksonville backs off the pressure. Tight ends playing off the line. Bileski off to the left. He only gets 2 that time, so up to the 7.
Jacksonville's doing a great job containing Bileski today. And then runs up the middle.
I have been really impressed with Forrest Dalton. 3 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss.
Where's going to throw here? No.
And off, broken tackle. Still bouncing off defenders like a pinball machine. And he will get the first down on forward progress to the 15-yard line.
I don't even know how he got 2 yards out of that play, much less a first down.
Because he basically got abandoned by his O-line. Right in the hole to meet him was J.R. Lawless. And Bileski put it into the ground.
Kind of went one way, then cut back the other way. I'm like, wow, okay. He's just slippery.
Yeah. Well, you don't get to be second in the league in rushing yards and 1 in rushing touchdowns without breaking a few tackles. And on first down, it's a pass from Cochran. Goes to Stephen Bush. 2nd down and 4. The SFL is...
Go ahead, Michael.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The SFL is partnered with Laser to deliver digital SFL player trading cards to its players and viewers starting this postseason, at least exclusively on the SFL's Twitch broadcast. Every 30 minutes, viewers will be issued one of 18 trading cards, or you can buy the entire pack through Laser's store. Cochran goes to the far side. Doyle can't make the catch. They're down and 4. You can buy the entire pack through Laser's store and receive the complete set of common, uncommon, rare, and ultra-rare memorabilia. Visit laser.gg and click the Join Alpha button to connect your Twitch account.
Yeah, Michael, I've actually tried that. I went on the site and I actually linked my account, and I've got some trading cards for this other stream to see if it worked.
And did it work?
Yes. I have 5 trading cards from another stream.
All right. I'm very excited about the SFL's partnership with Laser, being a big trading card fan myself. Very into baseball cards as a kid, so it's just something else to connect with the SFL's player base and fan base. We've been talking for years about doing trading cards of some sort. And some teams have done digital mock-ups of trading cards before, but Lasers cards, they're legit, and I'm very excited about what this partnership can bring to the SFL. Meanwhile, Florida punting from deep in their own zone again as Jacksonville continuing to win the field position battle. It's not going to be as good as the first time, but it's still a decent return out of Zachary Patton and gets close to midfield at their own 47.
It's crunch time for Jacksonville here. They have to get some points on the board.
They got to start converting this field position that they've had basically through the entire third quarter. They haven't even been able to get down to field goal range yet. Credit to the Florida Storm defense. .202 to go in the third. And a 13-point lead. Whoa, Dunhill missed the handoff, then fumbled the football,
Oh, no.
and Florida picks it up. Oh my goodness, Alex Dominguez is the beneficiary of a calamity by the Kings in the backfield.
Let me see what happened here. Looked like a big man moving the ball down the field.
Marcus Dunhill went to hand the ball off to Jared Willis, missed the connection, then was hit hard in the hole by Ryan Tobin, fumbled the ball, and Alex Dominguez says, hey, look what I've got. It's a football. Now
sure
Ron Cochran.
Oh, God.
Now Ron Cochran and company in plus territory.
It's when somebody, when a big man gets the ball, they're like, what do I do with it? I'm not used to seeing the ball in their hands. Joel just dropped that.
Yeah, right
now. That was
now,
a great pass.
the man who doesn't want the ball in his hands is J.W. Doyle. He's
Apparently.
dropped 2 straight passes from Cochran. Handoff, Beletsky, nowhere to run.
I think Florida's just happy, we'll just run our 3 plays, burn a little bit of the clock, give the ball back, make a stop. Seems how it's been going in their favor all day.
Yeah, I mean, they've been riding the defense the whole game long, and it's worked for them so far. They got, 13 points by their offense, 7 by their defense. Over the middle, and a nice catch in traffic down to the 13-yard line. Justice Blackwell, he doesn't just return kicks, he makes great catches.
They caught the defense a little off guard there. The defenders were in position. Ball was thrown perfectly down the middle, right to the receiver.
And I think the defense might have been thinking what you were thinking, Rochelle. They're just going to run the ball 3 times and then drain some more clock, maybe get to the end of the third quarter. But Ron Cochran had other ideas. Pitch. Letsky, nothing. Nice tackle by Terrence Pearson.
Ron Cochran's last completion, he has now reached 4,000 completions for his career. Congratulations, Ron Cochran.
Been in the league a long time. Multiple-time champion, and now a big record falls for number 3. But this time he throws a pick. He was looking for E.J. Minson across the middle of the route, got jumped.
And who was it? It was quarterback Connor Garion. That'll be his 11th interception of the season. He's third in the league in interceptions.
When you need a turnover, you call Connor Darian. And now the fields have been flipped, and it's Jacksonville deep in their own zone. At their own 6, a run of 0 yards by Jared Willis to start it off. And another tackle, that time by Rhett Sawyer. Haven't talked about Rhett. He was probably the biggest offseason move that the Storm made, coming over from Las Vegas in the offseason, a 3-time All-Star himself.
Jacksonville's got to be careful here, though.
Last play of the third quarter, and it's another run for 0 yards. Ryan Tobin makes sure of it, and it's all Storm. It's defensive domination for Florida as we end of 3, 20-7. Fourth quarter on tap from the King's Lair in Jacksonville. Michael Torillo, Michelle Colston on commentary for you. Josh Neal and Stephen Hacker on stats. Here's the crew we've got working today. 3rd down and 10. Dunhill looks to the near side, which should be far side, and it's incomplete, broken up by Evan Carroll.
Yep, that was dangerous. Very, very dangerous. I was just going to say they have to be careful here not to throw an interception. That was close.
And after winning the field position battle for the entirety of the third quarter, now it's Jacksonville's Howard McCoy, who is punting from the back of his own end zone.
Florida should get great field position out of this. Wow.
They will get phenomenal field position. They will be at the Jacksonville 31.
Must be a lot of win.
31-yard punt.
Must be a lot of win in that direction because it's the second punt that we've seen that hasn't gone for very far.
And now Florida can really seal it with a touchdown here with 10 minutes to go. Jacksonville's defense has done just enough to keep them in the game. But how far can the Storm turn the screws? Face mask, high snap. Cochran moves in the pocket, finds a receiver. And in the battle of veteran quarterbacks, it's been number 3 that has outdueled number 15 today.
I mean, what a rocket by Ron Cochran. He threw that ball where only his receiver could catch it. It was defended well by the defense, but great play.
And they already moved down into the red zone of the Jacksonville 19 after 1 play. Handoff, weak side left, Gillespie gets 3 yards. Visit the SFL League website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6, SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions, plus features from our content team, including Swamp Talk, Power Rankings, What We Learned, The Read Option, Talent Factories, and so much more. See all the league records, team stats, player leaderboards, the rankings of the next class of SFL talent, and so much more. Simulationfl.net, your home for everything SFL. Here's J.W. Doyle. He finally makes a catch after dropping the last 2 and fights forward for a 1st down and goal to the 9.
Yeah, Florida just keeps sticking to their game plan. Out routes, throws over the middle. Doyle and Bolesky are both big weapons today for Florida.
Cochran under center, 4-man front for Jacksonville. Time for Cochran. Floats it middle, down to the 3.
That was an odd-looking pass, but effective.
Looks like it came out of his hand, slipped out of his hand a little bit, but E.J. Minson made the adjustment.
Only now, a 2nd and goal.
Handoff, Blitzky, blockers in front of him. The blockers, they almost made it still as he got back to the line of scrimmage, fell forward for about a ½ yard more. That might have been the most impressive 3-yard touchdown run if he'd converted that one.
It was just, I don't even know what to say. I'm almost speechless. Like, what?
3rd and goal. Let's for his 2nd touchdown of the game, and a spin move gets him there. The Storm continue to pile it on inside Kings Lair Stadium.
Wow, the O-line just opened up a hole for Bolesky. He just spun his way into the end zone.
Oh, he left 2 defenders absolutely in the dirt. Bernard Gooden and Stuart Zomelia were both right there, and 1 spin move, he was gone.
How do you defend that?
It's very difficult to defend that, as BDG Hollywood has proven over his many years in Atlanta. Kick on the way and good. 27-7. A 20-point lead for Florida, 8:39 to go. APM Music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life, inspiring every production with the world's most robust and consistently refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, visit apmmusic.com.
Yeah, the stat sheet, my God, Torillo, looks like only Paulie Truth is the only person on the Florida team that hasn't had a reception of any kind today.
And it's
They've
been
used all their
Veritas
weapons.
Starkov, who's been the tight end of note. 2 receptions, 24 yards. And I think both of those receptions have gone for first downs, if my memory serves me right.
First and 10 from 21 yards.
Dunhill back on the field, offset eye behind him. 3-step drop, short pass, and that has been the undoing of Jacksonville's offense today. They're getting yards, but it's not explosive enough to overcome this deficit.
They seem to be happy with the little 4 or 5 yard pickups at a time, but Florida's stepping up and they're not converting them to maybe third downs. Or there'll be a lot of 3 and outs. A credit to the Florida defense.
Hand off to Willis, and he'll make it a third and a manageable 3. With this game, Florida in command. Let's take a look once again at the Atlantic Division scenarios, because that has gotten a lot more cloudy with today's result. It was a close game in D.C. between the Fury and the Dragons, as the Fury has just taken the lead after being behind all game. Broken tackle in the backfield by Willis, and he'll get a first down out to the 34. Jacksonville, if they complete the miraculous comeback in the last 7-18, they would win the division. But Florida wins today. Jacksonville can still win the division. They play Carolina next week, the final week of the season. And if they win that game and Florida loses to Charleston, Jacksonville would still win the division. First and 10 for the Kings. Roll out for Dunhill, going down the field, intercepted. He underthrew Jack Wall, and a block gets the returner into open space. That's Andrew Francis, one of those longtime veterans on the Florida defense, 10 seasons in the league, all wearing the Storm jersey, as he takes it away. Second interception thrown by Dunhill.
That ball was just a little bit underthrown, and the cornerback read the ball perfectly. It was in front of the receiver, and great pick.
So, with a Storm win today, which is looking ever more likely, Florida wins the division if both Jacksonville and Florida finish with the same record, and Charleston finishes worse than 7-5. And that would mean Florida would need to beat Charleston next week, and Jacksonville would lose to Carolina.
Still think both teams will end up in the playoffs somehow.
I agree. I mean, it is very likely that both of these teams will win next week, and they'd both end up with a record of 8-4. And that's definitely good enough to get in the playoffs.
I think they just want to make things as complicated as possible for Cam to figure out who goes to what position in the playoff positioning.
It's the one aspect of the job that I don't envy. Cam having to figure out all the scenarios and everything going on and who plays who in the playoffs.
You know, the
Especially now
tiebreakers.
With divisions back, and you could have a team that isn't as good, doesn't have as good of a record, but if they have a weak division, they win the division. I mean, you look at what Mexico City and Lone Star, they have basically a straight shootout next week for that division win.
Yeah, next season.
Sorry, go ahead.
Next season should be even more complicated. We'll have 7 divisions.
Yeah. Oh, expansion is coming, folks. It's going to be announced during the championship game. I'm sure the bids are already flying across the commissioner's desk.
It's always a fun time.
Yeah, and 94 eligible rookies for this season's draft class. The SFL Minor League is back again, coming up in a couple of weeks.
Dangerous throw there by Cochran. Middle of all the Jacksonville defenders.
And almost like E.J. Mitson was playing defense to keep that ball away from Greg Gaines. Now, back on the scenarios for the Atlantic Division, there is a way that Charleston wins,
Right?
as if every team in this top 3 finishes 7-5, and then Charleston would win on division record alone tiebreaker, as 3rd down and less than 1 after that catch by Justice Blackwell.
Is that because Jacksonville and Florida played each other twice this season?
Well, I think that scenario is Florida wins today, Charleston beats Florida next week, and Carolina beats Jacksonville next week. Then, in the division, the records would be 3-1 for Charleston and 2-2 for both Florida and Jacksonville, by way of Jacksonville's win, or by Jacksonville's loss, rather, to Carolina. So, still all to play for in this division, and it all depends on the 2 games next week, Jacksonville and Carolina, and Florida and Charleston games. Meanwhile, Ethan Sneed setting up to extend the lead for Florida. It's up. It's good from 34. That's his longest field goal of the game. Hit 2 from inside 30 in the first half. And it is 30-7.
Like Vegas has defeated DC 25-24. That's a final on the other game today.
So Vegas stays alive in their quest for the playoffs. Got a stacked weekend of SFL action still for you coming up today. In about 20 minutes, Denver and Sioux Falls in a rematch of a couple of seasons ago championship game. That's on Next Level Sports with Mike Daggs and Matt Wilson. Accompanying that on Twitch at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Houston and Vancouver. That's a big game for playoff seeding. Tyler Falk and Wade Phillips have the call for you there.
And we got a loaded weekend, and we had 12 games. Very busy.
And then 6 games tomorrow. I'll run you through that schedule in a moment. Willis can't get away out of the backfield because he receives the pass. 2nd down and 9. St. Louis and Carolina kick off tomorrow. Mexico City and LA. Those 2 games are the 1 o'clock Eastern time clock. Underneath it goes to Ellington. He can't turn the corner. 3rd and 5. Portland and Fort Worth and Louisiana and Tulsa are the 3 o'clock block. And then at 5 o'clock, it's Lone Star and San Diego. Those 2 teams meeting for the first time ever. And Baltimore and Arizona round off the day.
Jacksonville's still sticking to this, short pass game.
That was a tough catch there by Jack Wall. We welcome those of you who watched a instant classic as Vegas stays alive in the playoff race and beats DC by way of a missed field goal. And another catch made by Jack Wall. That's 2 in a row. Here it's been the story of the Florida defense as they have held the Kings to just 7 points and put up 30 of their own. The key play of the game, 2 Marcus Dunhill interceptions, one of them by Adam Jones going all the way back for a touchdown. Charlie Beletsky, the Florida running back, has 2 rushing touchdowns from inside the 5 as well. My name is Michael Tribetto. Happy to have your company along with Michelle Colston on commentary. Rochelle, this game has been very one-sided and not at all what we expected. You know, Jacksonville leading this division and Florida with an outside shot still to win it. And now, as we've been talking about, as we welcome in all the viewers from Next Level Sports, it's all to play for next weekend.
Definitely auto play for next weekend. When this is actually a very impressive drive by Jacksonville. They're moving the ball down the field very rapidly here.
Trying to get some points on the board and bring that point differential down with 2:20 to go.
They're still sticking to their little short routes. Well, that's actually a pretty long pass for Jacksonville there.
That might be the longest pass that's been completed for the Kings today. It's all out routes, corner routes, runs, swing passes outside. Here's Dunhill going to the far side. That pass is a little overthrown. A better pass than Grayson Willis might walk into the end zone, but it will be second and goal from inside the 2.
We're almost at the 2-minute warning already, Michael.
2-minute warning here is a very quickly progressing game at Kings Lair. Actually, we're going to have one more play as the clock stops with 2:01 after Grayson fell out of bounds.
Been a very impressive drive by Jacksonville so far, though.
Well, that's an incomplete pass, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning as Marcus Dunhill got crushed and barely got that pass away. It'll be third down and goal now.
I think they can actually get the ball into the end zone this time. They're in four down territory, so.
I think at this point, if you're Frank Gooden and the rest of the Jacksonville Kings, you want to use this time as maybe a little bit of practice. Over the middle, incomplete.
Oh.
Had the receiver he wanted on a post route, but the defense got there first, and it's 4th and goal.
I thought it was actually a reception there, but it's almost an interception.
Already 2 interceptions in the game by Dunhill. Evan Carroll has 1. Adam Jones has the pick 6, which really broke the game open, made it 14-0 early in the first quarter. Dunhill on 4th down, goes to the goal line, touchdown Jacksonville. He finds Grayson Willis across the middle, and that is the second passing touchdown of the game from Marcus Dunhill. Both of them have been inside the 10-yard line, short passes, as has been the case for Jacksonville today. It hasn't been enough offensively as Florida has just done so well in coverage. That time, Grayson Willis first to the ball, barely beating his defender.
Yeah, Florida's defense has been amazing today. 7 tackles for losses, a sack.
And they've done it all with just 1 sack, which when you've got Rhett Sawyer and Alex Dominguez on the same defensive line, you'd expect more than 1 sack in a game, but tackles for loss 7. They've really shut down the run game of Jared Willis. Only 66 yards on 20 carries for the Jacksonville running back today.
Their secondary also has 9 pass deflections on the day, so they've been giving Marcus Dunhill nightmares all day.
And 2 interceptions as previously mentioned. Coverage of the Simulation Football League on Next Level Sports continues Saturday, April 16th, the final day of the regular season at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. The South Division title will be on the line when Mexico City faces Lone Star, plus DC will meet London in a crucial game for playoff seeding. NXT will also have coverage of potential divisional races up for grabs in the West, Atlantic, or East. Visit NLSE.com to find Next Level Sports in your area. And it's very likely that it will be the Atlantic Division showcased because there are a number of scenarios still all to play for. And Florida against Charleston next week is going to be huge because we're assuming if Jacksonville takes care of business against Carolina, Florida will have to win to potentially keep playoff hopes alive because they would be, well, they would still have 7 wins, so it would come down to seeding. It's all very complicated. But if Carolina does beat Jacksonville next week, then it's a straight shootout between Florida and Charleston to see who wins this Atlantic Division.
Yeah, very exciting weekend next weekend. I can't wait.
And of course, we'll know the playoff matchups after next weekend's games have concluded as Jacksonville burn some timeouts to try and get the ball back one more time.
Jacksonville still has one timeout.
Third down and 4 for Ron Cochran. He has been magnificent today. 21 of 29, 26 yards. No touchdowns, but has set up all the drives that have gotten Florida into the red zone for those field goals and touchdowns.
Jacksonville get the ball back here with 1:41 left on the clock.
It'll be another field goal for Ethan Sneed. He is 3 for 3 on the day. 2 from 28 and 1 from 30. Excuse me, 1 from 34. This will be from 44. As he puts the left foot through it and remains perfect. This time his longest of the day, 44. And it's 33-14 Florida.
Jacksonville get the ball back. They have no timeouts. They have 1 minute and 34 seconds left to march down the field.
Ethan Sneed has only missed 1 field goal all season. Was 18 of 19 coming into the game, and of course 4 for 4 today.
Hashtag kickers matter.
Kickers do matter, and that's why you see pretty much every team these days running them. Paying the kickers the big bucks.
And kickers do make a lot of money in this league.
But as you saw, if you were watching the main coverage on Next Level Sports, that sometimes you pay the kicker, and it does backfire because DC missed the potential game-winning field goal to let Vegas stay alive in playoff positioning. This will likely be the final drive of the game. Let's see what Jacksonville can do with it.
And they're still sticking to those little out routes and 5-6 yard plays. I don't understand it.
They must have thought that they could nickel and dime the Florida defense and gain field position and time of possession advantage in the game. But once they got behind the 8 ball, I mean, they were down 14-0 in the first 5 minutes. And that never really changed their strategy to fit the game.
Haven't. They're still doing it.
Nice one-handed pass, 2 spin moves, 3 spin moves by Jared Willis to get out past the 40-yard line, and that's a little bit too little too late with only 1:15 to go. And the backups mostly in for Florida, as the Storm will travel back down I-95 with a victory.
Similar to the last time they ran from the previous drive. It's working, they're moving the ball. It's just they're not getting big chunks of yards at a time.
Yeah. But DC coming in at 7-3, falling today to Vegas, who is only 4-6. And DC will still likely comfortably make the playoffs, but that could hurt their seeding, as 2 of the top 4 teams, Jacksonville as well, also 7-3, are going to go down to defeat on this Saturday afternoon.
I think your first
Third team that is 7-3, that would be Louisiana. They play tomorrow at 3:20 p.m. Eastern, and they play Tulsa, a game by all rights they should win, but who knows? We've already seen 2 upsets today, 2 big ones at that.
You really count anybody out in this league on any given day. Whoever plays the best that day.
And even, I was looking at the ticker, Arizona is 3-7. They play Baltimore, who is 9-1 and coming off their first loss of the season. But Arizona still has statistically the best defense in the league, so any given day they could hold Jack Wigmore and company to a low point total, and he got a victory there. That could throw the race for the #1 overall seed into chaos because Vancouver's just sitting there at 9-1 as well.
And he's always dangerous as a defensive coordinator, so.
Everything to play for in the back half of week 13 and then the final week of the regular season. Week 14 next weekend. You better tune in for it as that pass is batted away. Backups in for the Storm. That's Jimmy Menjivar. And third down and 10, 23 seconds to go. Let's see if Jacksonville can find the end zone and reduce that deficit of defeat a little bit.
Even with Florida's backup defensive players, and they still look impressive out there on the field.
And that's just Max Paul's scheme and his staff doing a terrific job as that pass is complete. And it didn't get the first down. Shea Carroll didn't get the ball beyond the line to gain. It was 4th and inches. I'm sure Jacksonville will still go for this. But it's just interesting that even now, right at the end of the game, a call that close could still matter.
Yeah, good discipline by the receiver to get out of bounds and stop the clock since they had no timeouts left.
So this could be the final play of the ball game with no timeouts for Jacksonville. They're at the Florida 5-yard line with a 4th and inches. Dunhill floats it to the back of the end zone. That's a great catch for a touchdown. And a highlight reel play for Jack Wall.
What an awesome play. I mean, his toes were barely in.
You don't want to see this one again. A ballerina-style move from the 6'7", 225 former season 17 All-Star Jack Wall.
He was wide open. He looked very graceful out there on that catch. As graceful as a man that big can be, anyway.
Well, it's the score is going to read 33-21. But this game was not as close as that score would lead you to believe. It really should be 33-7, as there were 2 touchdowns scored by Jacksonville with the Florida backups in.
It's very true. It was all Florida all day. Mostly Florida's defense all day. A lot of credit has to go to the defense from Florida's team today.
Jared Willis only 66 yards rushing on 20 carries and 24 yards receiving on 7 receptions.
Well, this should be the last play of the game.
Yeah, not the kind of day you would want, as it was a bit of a scramble. Actually, Jacksonville
got it.
Ball. So it will be the Kings to play out the last play of the game on offense.
I think we'll see a Hail Mary here.
14 seconds to go. But I was thinking of the stat line of Jared Willis, and that's not the stat line you really want if you are the bell cow of your team like Willis is. So it will be a Hail Mary for the final play of the game. Dunhill stands in, gets the pass away. There's 4 receivers down. They're wearing purple, and it's complete. Knocked away by Ramel Hernandez. There are still 6 seconds to go, so Jacksonville could do this one more time.
Yeah, Jared Willis didn't even have 90 yards in the day if you combine his rushing and his receiving yards.
Right.
2 sacks on the day for the Jacksonville defense, one by Daquan Hale and one by the rookie Forrest Dalton. 7 tackles for loss for the Kings. 7 tackles for loss for the Storm, but really the number to look at is the 11 pass deflections and 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. The pass is actually caught down there, but it's going to be short of the end zone, and the final score is Florida 33, Jacksonville 21, in a game that was all one-sided until the backups came in, Michelle.
All right. I mean, when you hold Jared Willis to less than 100 yards at home, that's a great accomplishment by the Florida defense altogether.
This was the most wacky play of the game. Dunhill failing to hand the ball off to Jared Willis. Ryan Tobin came through and knocked the ball loose, and Alex Dominguez, of all people, picked the ball up and ran for about 10 yards.
I love to see Big Ben run down the field, though. It's got to be. It's funny almost. They're like lost.
Charlie Boletsky, that was the spin move right on the goal line. Left two Jacksonville players in the dust for his second touchdown of the day. He had a pretty average day, actually, outside the two touchdowns. Only 72 yards on 19 carries for Boletsky. He had a couple of big ones, 3.8 yards per carry. Doyle had 6 yards on 3 attempts, but 28 yards on 3 receptions for JW. Nice day receiving the ball for the fullback.
Yeah, Florida did a great job using all their offensive weapons except for their second tight end, Paulie Truth. They spread the ball around. Their defense stepped up. Great complete game by Florida.
And on the road in the Kings' lair as well, Ethan Sneed 4 for 4 on field goals. And as we mentioned, it's really, the score should read 33-7.
Right.
With the 2 garbage time touchdowns. Although this was very impressive from Jack Wall.
It was. Look how graceful he looks there.
Flying through the air with the greatest of ease, like a trapeze artist. The player of the game, as I'm sure you have all guessed by now, is Charlie Boletsky. 2 touchdowns, 60 yards on the ground, 31 through the air. The Kings may be in Jacksonville, but there were only one ruler on the field of play today, and it's Max Paul's Florida Storm. They win this one 33-21. For Stephen Hacker and Josh Neal on Stats, Michelle Colston, my broadcast partner, and Cameron Irvine in the studio. My name is Michael Trillo, saying farewell from sunny Florida, and have a very pleasant good afternoon.